Hi everyone, it's about 4:45 East and it's about 4:45 Central on this Sunday, November 11th, 2012. I'm Stephen Boyle. Well, I know it's been a while since we've done this, but because of course, the major storms that have affected the East Coast in the past couple of weeks, finally we're seeing a bit of a lull in the action here. So let's talk first about the state of the ENSO. And the state of the ENSO is important. A lot of people are still saying that, we're going to get a weak El Nino or moderate El Nino. And that's just not going to happen. You really want to look at conditions above this line. And we talked about this with in our last video. You wanted to you want to look at conditions above this line right here, and notice how the majority of the models are below the line, which indicates neutral. However, they're below this line. However, it's above this line right here, because if it's below this line, then that means this is La Nina. Okay, that's La Nina, and we're not going to be in a La Nina this winter. Uh, I have a very, very high confidence that we're probably not going to be in a El Nino this year. But El Nino is up here. And like I said, I talked about this in my last winter outlook. This is neutral right in here, and you can see that the majority of the models for this upcoming winter are showing that we're going to be neutral. Okay? So I am not, I do not think that we'll be seeing an El Nino this winter. Maybe if we do see any sort of El Nino, it would be the weakest of El Ninos, because you can see also some are up into this region, and that's very, very weak. So, between very weak El Nino to neutral conditions is what I expect. Now, and that actually has resulted in NOAA to remove its El Nino watch for this upcoming winter. Now, what we're going to look at now is the JAMSTEC model, and if we all remember, I also showed this back in I believe I showed this back in September, and even October, I believe I showed it. But my last outlook, I didn't show it because I looked at it and I didn't see this on. But I do want to show you this because some people have been commenting on my videos here saying that, hey, the JAMSTEC is predicting a very warm winter in the east. Actually, it's not. The first thing that you notice here, though, is that it's very cold through the majority of the country. Then you look at the East Coast and you're like, Steven, what's up with that? It's predicting above average conditions. Well, there's a reason for that. And it's not because it's going to be warm either. It's because if you look at the precipitation anomalies, notice how it's well above average. Notice how it's very much above average. And that is in part the reason why or that is the reason why that the temperature anomalies are showing above average, is because of how much precipitation we're going to see. But trust me, you won't be seeing days like what we're seeing now. Today we have temperatures rising into the 60s in some regions of the Northeast. That's not going to be happening this winter. You can generally bet your money that we're going to be seeing very cold conditions with a lot of precipitation, and that results in snow. So this is the reason why that you're seeing above average conditions, and it's very slight as well for the East Coast. Trust me, it's not going to be that warm. All right, so first of all, so that's again the JAMSTEC. Now we want to look at the predicted teleconnections here, and of course this is another major thing. We all know that we had a very historical snowstorm here that hit the East Coast last week. The week before, we had a very historical hurricane. These two things happening in a row is very, very unusual. And these sorts of storms, and when we go to my first graphic here, I will be able to explain to you the reason why these two storms happened. First of all, notice how right now we are we're positive with the NAO, and that's the reason why we're seeing the warm conditions outside right now. Trust me, this is not going to last 2 weeks. This will probably last for about a week or for about a few days, and then we will start seeing these conditions going negative. Okay, I do not anticipate this sticking around for a long time. Some people are saying, it's going to last a while. Now, the AO, okay, a lot of people are going crazy with this, and this is the reason why they're saying, we're going to see this stuff happening for a couple weeks. To be honest with you, even though that the AO is going to be positive for that long, we are going to see a dip, and then it may increase a little bit, but I do see generally a trend towards negative. I think as we get closer in time, we'll probably see this drop negative. Now, what we're going to be talking about, again, the major thing here is that I don't believe that this will be positive like this the whole winter long. No, I don't see that. I think this is just a little spike that we're seeing. Again, we'll see what happens though. Now the PNA is another thing, and as you can see right now, the PNA is a little bit on the negative side. That is going to be increasing by the time we hit, we'll say the 19th. I would say we're going to start seeing an increase towards positive with the PNA. And that's also when the AO is going to start really dropping. That's when we'll see the cold air sticking around for a long time. Although it's going to be, somewhat close to average. It's not going to be. The reason why we're seeing well above average conditions right now is because that NAO is positive. But as that NAO goes negative, the AO is really not going to have an influence on our temperature. Although it will. It won't be bitterly cold, but we will see cooler conditions. And we'll start seeing that trend as that NAO goes negative. We'll start seeing that trend with the AO going more negative. So therefore, we're going to start seeing some cooler conditions. However, it won't be very stormy over the next week or so. As we head towards Thanksgiving week, that's when I start seeing some possibilities here that we could be getting into some more trouble, and I will explain that in a separate video. And what we see towards the Thanksgiving week will really be the sorts of we'll say between Thanksgiving week to the end of the month is what we're going to be talking about for this upcoming winter. And it's going to get very cold very fast. So, we're going to see you'll be seeing what's going on. But first of all, I'm going to sort of answer your questions of why were these two storms so significant? What's going on? Well, first of all, this is my storm tracks and patterns, and obviously you're looking at all of this and you're saying, what the heck? This is just a bunch of lines. Well, let me explain. What we have here for this upcoming winter is a split jet. This is the northern stream, and this is the southern stream. Now, what's going to happen here is there will be energy that comes in from the northern stream. It looks like with the northern stream, you're not going to have a lot of storm tracks. No, because there won't be a lot of moisture with the northern stream. However, there are some indications that it may actually have a lot of moisture this year. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens as we go through the next several weeks. But there will be energy that will be coming down from the northern stream quite often. However, that's not going to be what's going to produce the very good conditions that we want to see for snow. The southern stream will be very, very moist, and what's going to happen is the energy that comes down from here is going to also have some cold with it. The energy that we have down here is going to have the moisture. what happens here is we see these storms, or these two pieces of energy phase, we'll say between Missouri and North Carolina. Okay, we'll say somewhere in these regions. And what happens here is that we see these storms going right over this anomaly. Okay, this is a very, very intense anomaly this year. And this is the main reason, part of the main reason why we saw such an intense storm, not only with the nor'easter, but with Sandy. Sandy, and on this map it looks like it only goes a little bit offshore, but to be honest with you, it goes far out. Okay, and when storms go over this anomaly, these storms will explode. We'll see the pressure drop. We'll see the precipitation get much more strong. And not only that, when pressure drops, we also see stronger winds. So this year, my main concern is that we will see a lot of storms with very intense winds and a lot of precipitation with it. This anomaly hasn't been in here, and I explained this in my last video, since between the 1930s and the 1950s. And some of these storms will be record-breaking. So we're going to have to see what happens. Now, what happens with this track is it goes through this 4070 benchmark right in here. And the reason why that this is such a major thing is that when we see these storms going through the 4070 benchmark, people who live in these regions will get pounded with snows. It's far enough away from the coast where a lot of people will see snow, but it's not too far away from too far out to see that this storm will go way out to sea and it won't do anything. So now, I know some people are saying, oh, Maine isn't going to get too much this year. Maine will be in the action, and trust me, it will be, because way up here, and this is why I didn't put it in, is because way up here we have a Greenland block. And what happens here is these storms go around this Greenland block, and it eventually affects Maine. So you can expect that a lot of people from Maine all the way down to Virginia will see a lot of action this upcoming year. And I also have these two lines in here indicating that there could be a couple of Appalachian runners or Midwest runners, but that won't happen a lot. This will be a very less frequent sight this upcoming winter. But you can never rule these two tracks out. Also, there will be some clippers, but again, they won't have a lot of energy with them, unless we do actually end up seeing a very, very moist northern stream, which again, I won't figure that out until in the next several weeks. So we'll see what happens with that. But again, they will eventually come up, and they could eventually create some interesting snows, possibly. But we'll see what happens. Again, this is going to be a very intense year. And it's really because we're sort of seeing everything coming together here. And yes, the NAO is positive right now in the AO, but that's not going to last. It's not going to last here, folks. All right, so here's my temperature predictions, and you're looking at this and you're saying, well, Steven, what's going on with these guys down here? Well, what's really going on down here is that they will be in the action. They will at times see cooler conditions. But the only reason why I have most of the cold air in here is because, and this is what I also forgot to mention, is that when you see a neutral pattern, the cold air usually comes in angularly. Okay, you normally see an angular trough setting up. And this has been happening quite frequently. However, I wouldn't be surprised if some of the troughs end up coming in like this. Well, actually more like this, but it won't happen all that often. Okay, the trough will really be coming in here very much angularly. And you'll see most of the cold air, the core of the cold, coming in through these regions. Okay, that's where the core of the cold will be. These people down in here, they will be cold. Trust me, it will be cold, but they'll be more affected by the temperature swings. And I don't see, believe it or not, I don't see a lot of warm in the United States this year. There could be some more warmth in here, but it won't be too frequent. No, actually, let me rephrase that. We will see warm in this region, and it may even extend out a little bit further to maybe here, and then maybe up to here. But it won't be. There will be a little bit more swings in these regions as well. There will be warm conditions this year, but it won't be as severe as some years. It's not like we're going to be like so warm and it's going to be record breaking. I think it'll be warm, and it will be a warm winter for these people, but it won't be severely warm. Not like warm like what we saw in the Northeast last year. Here's my precipitation outlook. And you can see here that I do have very dry conditions into these regions. And it will be, some areas may be even getting into some droughts here into the Northwest. However, there will be some precipitation. Now, you're looking at me and saying, well, Stephen, there was just a major snowstorm that went into these regions. Yes, and the reason why that happened was because we saw the positive NAO. I don't see that happening a lot this year. It's not going to be a very frequent sight. The more frequent sight that we will be seeing is the negative NAO, and this is going to be causing a lot of precipitation for the east. Even down here into extreme southern Florida, they will see above average precipitation, but it won't be as frequent for them either. But you will see very much above average conditions for precipitation on the East Coast. In these regions in here, it's going to depend on exact tracks, and also for these regions in here, it will depend on if the clippers will have a lot of moisture with them. However, there could be some storms that come through California like this, and then up the coast like this. But again, these areas in here, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. Well, maybe in here there will definitely be some precipitation, but it will be a little bit harder. Again, this winter, it's very difficult to sort of nail it down exactly. All right, so here is my final precipitation type. So obviously, it's going to be dry up into these regions. We already sort of got that down. There will be above average conditions here into the mountains of California and into the mountains of Utah, southern Utah, and then also the mountains of southern Colorado and northern New Mexico. These regions will see a bit of snow this year because, again, the active southern stream, and at times it will produce precipitation as far north as these regions. The only reason why I put this in here is because, well, first of all, I don't want to put rain because there are mountains into these regions as well, and also and that's really the reason why, is because of where is it going to snow. I'm not sure. However, I do know that there are mountains into these regions of Utah and Colorado, and I do know that there's a big mountain range out into this part of California. So that's the only reason why I did that. So again, and then average conditions into these areas. It's not like, oh, are we going to see rain or are we going to see snow into this region? No. The only reason why I did that is because there's about average conditions when it comes in terms of snowfall and precipitation. Now, these regions, I'm a little bit uncertain on what sort of precipitation we're going to see. It depends on the exact track of the storms. Now, this region in here will see above average snowfall. However, not as much. Now, you're looking at this pink region and you're saying, well, what's going on in here? Is it going to be ice? No, I don't see a lot of ice this upcoming winter. Not a lot. I mean, could there be some? There could be some, but not a lot. They will be mostly rain and snow events. mostly like a rain snowstorm, from a rainstorm. You start off as rain, then go into snow, or you start off as snow, going over to rain. However, these areas will see above average snowfall because of the fact that there will be snow and there will be a lot of frequent storms. Then we move on into this region, and this is where I expect the most snow this year. I know some people are saying, there will be some mixed storms if you go along the coast of the Atlantic, and obviously there will be some, but I don't see it with every single storm. I really don't see that with every single storm that will be mixed. I don't think this mixed will go that far north. I think we're going to see a lot of snowstorms into these regions, a lot of snowstorms, and it will be also very cold as well. Cool and rainy down into these regions, and I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we saw maybe a snow event that goes as far south as the Gulf Coast, but again, we'll see what happens with that. Finally, here is my snowfall outlook, and again, some people are going to be really, really surprised. But yeah, it's just going to be this active this year. You can see I have the 5 to 10 inches all the way down into central South Carolina through central Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, northern Louisiana. And I do see that a big potential. And then, of course, you start looking at 30 to 40 inches as far north as northern portions of North Carolina, southern portions of Virginia. That's a lot of snow for them. Now, into this region of the country, again, this is about average for them, 30 to 40 inches. And this is actually average for these people as well. We'll say anywhere between 70 to over 90 inches. That's actually average. So isn't this in here, and actually some of this is actually a little bit below average. But yeah, I mean, I see that this is just normal stuff in here. Now, where we get the interesting stuff is in here. And you're looking up in here and you're saying, what the heck? Why do you have 90 inches plus for these people? Well, to be honest with you, average snowfall in through these regions are over 90 inches. Okay, it's over 90 inches into now obviously in your valley locations like I believe it's the Champaign Valley, also the Connecticut River Valley of Vermont. But again, these regions see over 90 inches of snow a year. So trust me, that this is not overdoing it. However, where you may think I'm overdoing it is in through southern New England, down in through New Jersey, through northern New Jersey, and through the New York City metro area. That is where you may think, oh wow, you're really overdoing it. And even down towards Baltimore and northern Virginia and even central Virginia, you may think, wow, you're putting in a lot of snow this year. And yes, it will be a very active snow season this year. Remember, if you go back to my storm tracks here, you can see that there will be a lot of storms that will be coming up like this. All right, and we've already seen that happen. Some areas are already at because again, the official snowfall for this year starts really in October, and it goes right through April. So we already have seen in some areas 6 inches of snow, 12 inches of snow, 13. I believe there was 13 and a half into parts of New Jersey. So we're already starting off on a good foot here. So we're already starting off on a good pace here, which is what I tried to say. So we're already starting off with a good base of snow. Although it's already melted, it still can be counted in towards the this year's snowfall, total snowfall. And again, it will be a very active year. And the sorts of storms that we've already seen with Sandy and the Snor'easter, it will be a very common sight this year. I do see, like I said before, I do see 2 storms, one around Thanksgiving and then the one just after Thanksgiving. If both of them are snow, we could be seeing astronomical amounts of snow on the ground. So we'll see what happens here, folks. It's going to be a very active year. And I don't know if people understand just how active it's going to be. And it's going to be very, very intense. Once we get in towards especially the end of December, things are going to get really, really active. So just be prepared for a very intense year here. And could it be possible? Could it be possible that this 90 inches plus comes further to the south? It's not out of the question here. But at this particular point, I'm just keeping it like this because I want to be on the safe side here. And you can see coastal regions, they have 60 to 70 inches because sometimes they're affected by the marine layer. So we'll see what happens. Usually they have a marine influence. But we'll see what happens here. It looks like a very good year, especially if you like the snow. They already got a lot of ski areas are open in Western Mass. They're open in New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine. There's ski resorts already open. They're making their own snow. And they also got a good base of actual snow as well. So if you love the snow, if you like to ski, if you like to snowboard, snowmobile, it looks like it's going to be a great year, especially in the Northeast. So I hope you guys have a great winter. I will be here tracking everything for you and, giving you updates on storms and giving you frequent forecasts. But, again, this is my final winter outlook. If you guys have any questions, you can come into a chat with me and a meteorologist. Also, we have a website that we created. This is and this is between me and three other student forecasters. It's called, and I'll have this in my link description, and I'll even write it down here. Hold on. It's called Blog. Okay, just bear with me here. Blog.weather. Okay, I know this is gonna be I know this isn't the best handwriting, but if you can read it, .com. So blog.weathernow, this is an N, weathernowus.com. This is a website between me and three other student forecasters, and we correlate forecasts and we correlate maps. And, we'll be tracking everything for you this upcoming winter. So I hope that you go ahead onto that website. I also hope that if you are interested in a chat room between me and also another NOAA meteorologist, that you ask me about that. You can comment below. Ask me any question you want. And I hope you all have a great rest of your Sunday. And I'll be back as soon as I can with another update. Take care, everyone.